We're going to start here in just a couple minutes again. Um, so good to see everyone. God, this is awesome. This is awesome. I think we got some good stuff today. We're just going to give people a couple more minutes and we will get rolling. But I'll do some introductions in just a moment. And wow, this thing is rolling. The chat's starting to roll. Good. Again, if you're going to be, you haven't shared your LinkedIn with the rest of the group before, do it again. It's always awesome to make sure everybody's connected on LinkedIn. JD, awesome. We got some, quite a few new attendants today. A few people are going to be on here that we might have speak in the future, which is cool. All right, waiting. Good. I see the LinkedIn connections going. As last week, Andrew and Johnny are going to be helping along with the others. Just put your questions in the chat. Feel free to network with others, set up times to talk to people, get out and meet people here. So I will get started. We are at 8:05. We usually start at 8:05 if you haven't been here before, because we want to let people come in and talk a minute and get going. So today I'm pretty excited about today for a couple of reasons. One, I think, again, we're going to have some very talented people and good discussions. I mean, last week just every week it's been pretty cool how the discussions flow and what happens in them. And it's always nice to see people coming together like this. And I think that we're creating some value that we can help others, which is really, really nice. So we'll get going here. And today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn and social media marketing and how it's changing and the new realities that are happening. COVID kind of pushed a lot of things like this, remote working and video conferencing and online social media marketing in different directions. And it did it very quickly and accelerated a lot of things. So today we're going to have, first of all, Dan Bigger is going to talk just for a moment about using social media marketing in business. And Dan does this every day. He's on social media a lot. He's very active on Twitter, very active on LinkedIn. He's active in different groups, so many groups that I don't even know about. And then after he's done, we're going to have Craig Wasilchak's going to talk to us about social media marketing in general, some of the changing realities, and some of the things that we can do. So without further ado, we're going to let Dan take over, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he's learned about social media marketing and how he's applying it in his daily life. So Dan.
Thanks, Damon. Thanks for having me. Just to give you a little background on me and what I'm doing is I work for an injection molding and tooling company. And prior to me starting there, we had no marketing presence or no social media presence whatsoever. So I've been learning this as I've been going and through trial and error. And the way I look at social media marketing is it's just an extension of sales, which is an extension of or marketing is an extension of sales. So I was actually listening to one of Ben's podcasts, and I thought he hit it right on the nose, is that, you got to be yourself. And that's how I market, and that's how I sell myself, is I be myself. So when I'm presenting facts for the company, again, based on the market that you're looking to get into, my company is more about education, and I've really taken it to the point where I break it down into education. I'm trying to educate people on what we do and how we do it. And I really get into the guts of how we do things. It's almost like showing how the meat's made. So I do a lot with video and things like that. And then the other thing I really do a lot of, or really have pushed a lot, is getting our employees out there. Our employees do a lot of work behind the scenes. They're never recognized for any of that stuff. So I try to show other people of, not only what we do, but who is actually doing it. And social media marketing to me is just an extension of networking. So, I've been very fortunate to hook up with a lot of great people So when I'm marketing, I also engage with a lot of people because I'm interested in what they do. So if they're in market or manufacturing in some way, shape, or form, or sales, engineering, I try to get involved with what they're doing, because they end up becoming a friend of mine and an advocate for us, and it helps both of us.
Okay, great, Dan. Great. And I think that, that's really what Dan said there is what I've learned over the last years. And I think we're going to hear Craig and others talk more about it is social media and in my world, LinkedIn particularly, is a way to meet other professionals and understand what they're doing and how you can help them and work together and really just meet a lot of good professionals. In my experience, you look at this screen and I look at it now and the 40 or so people we've got on this call, I've met the vast majority of you on LinkedIn. And in my personal life, or my professional life and personal life, it's been a life-changing experience for me. I'm of the age, as some of us are on this call, before LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn in 2005, believe it or not. And I bet I didn't have 500 connections until about 2015. And what I've learned is that if you reach out and you start talking to people and you really are actively looking to meet the most talented or the people that really you want to just surround yourself with so you can all rise together, it's a great opportunity for it. And so without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Craig Wasilchak, and he's going to tell us a little bit about, social media marketing and just go from there. So Craig, welcome. Glad to have you.
So if I remember right, when you were in the industry, it was before the cell phone. Is that right?
Yes, it was.
Yes. Well, I kind of date myself a little bit. When I studied entrepreneurship and marketing, went to Baylor. And I remember when I went to declare my major, I was sitting down talking to the counselor, and they said, well, you need to do a double major. And I said, well, why is that? Because I want to major just in entrepreneurship. That's what I'm interested in. They said, well, that's just in case that little thingy doesn't work out. We want to have a fallback for you. So interesting enough, I was lucky enough along the way and did some right things. And I've been able to pursue a successful career in doing that. So just a little bit of what I've seen is LinkedIn has really disrupted the marketplace. And even before COVID-19, it was disrupting, but not everyone kind of knew what was going on. So right now we've got over 675 million people on the platform, and 80% of the B2B leads are coming from LinkedIn based on some of the stats that LinkedIn puts out and other industry rags that come out. So going from there, LinkedIn is the 12th most popular website in the world right now. And some trends are suggesting that they will be moving up in 2020. There's more than 50 million companies represented on LinkedIn. 63 million decision makers are on the platform. And then there's 90 million senior level influencers that make decisions on your products and services. On average, 18.1% of LinkedIn visits come via search engines. Why is that? People are searching for products and they're searching for services to reduce their pain, just like what we do when we go out and we search on anything else on any platform. That's why it's so important to optimize your personal profile and your company page. That way we will be able to capture some of the traffic that's coming from LinkedIn and through the search engines. On the average time that's spent on LinkedIn right now is a little over 6 minutes as it goes through.
Wow.
LinkedIn is a huge part of LinkedIn is a huge part of an overall branding and lead generation strategy. And what we find is a lot of businesses are not adopting it. And what's going to happen in the future is they're going to end up having their sales go down, or when we run into situations like what we're in right now, everything comes to a stop. But if you have a social media strategy, it's going to move up over time. Now, it does take time to ramp it up and get it going. So one of the clients that we've worked with lately, and Damon, you said, hey, do I have a couple of examples that I can share with the group, is a friend of mine, Richard Cameron. He owns a company called Protect Environmental Services. And on the right side, you can see in my background, he had the standard blue screen of death. Nothing was happening. He wasn't getting any engagement on the platform. And what we did is we went in and we recreated his profile. And then we added the keywords to it, and we totally optimized it so that it would work within the platform correctly. And we did the same thing with his company pages. And what's interesting is when you add just a single photo to your profile, you can get up to 21 more views, or 21 times more views on the profile. Now, you have to add good images that get attention as you go. And then the other thing is you also get more activity. But then when you completely fill it out right and do the whole thing right, you're going to get much more traction. So we've seen his sales increase substantially since we've redone it for him. And we also are driving people to the off the site and going to his website. And that we've also redone as well to help him drive business. So then the question really is, do you have a written marketing plan and a strategy going into 2020? And the most important thing that you want to do is build trust. And that's what Dan talked about is, hey, I use it to work alongside what I do anyway in sales, because, LinkedIn is not the only thing out there. It's not the only source out there, but it's something you should use in addition to what you're doing already right now. So most of the decisions that are made out there, they have about a 52% trust factor is the most important thing as you go down the line. Now, in addition to building trust on the platform, you want to build trust off the platform. So do you look at your Google reviews? Do you look at what you have out there? Because people are going to look that up on you, and they're going to try to learn as much as they can on you. And then also you have LinkedIn recommendations. And then you also have your keywords that are put in based on your skills. And then your websites, because it's all built in a funnel system so that you can drive the business and drive the leads. So do we have any questions on this? This is the basics here is, how do we take those searches and then drive them into leads and driving business?
Yeah, so it's interesting when you look at some of the things you can do. But yeah, are there any questions out there? People got any ideas, things that they've been doing? JD, you're someone that understands this well.
I guess I better unmute, huh? Well, first of all, hi everybody. Damon, thanks for the invite. Much appreciated. Greetings to everybody on the call. I think to Craig's point, it's all about building a solid infrastructure. And that infrastructure is what truly will enable us to build brand in a period of our lives where everything has been forced online, because all the decision-making is going online. It doesn't matter how cool you are in face-to-face now. It's all about setting up this exhibit on you, drawing people to it, and somehow massaging the conversation enough to get them on an introductory call on Zoom. And boy, is it good to be the people at Zoom right now.
Yeah. Yes,
a platform that came out of nowhere that is here for us to build and cement these relationships. And that's before we inject anything akin to a sales talk track.
Yeah, that's great input. And I think that's key. And we all see it if we're on LinkedIn now, is everyone gets 1,000 or lots of sales pitches every day. And it's to the point now with I know the people that I talk to a lot is those just get deleted. And you have to establish relationships with people just like in real life. And And for those of us on the call that can remember this, as Craig said, before the cell phones, we actually set up meetings and had to go out and visit people, and got in the car and drove and met with people. And
still do.
Yeah, I still do in some cases, but not now. And as JD said, it's gone virtual with Zoom.
And you think about it, to your point, Damon, the relationship acceleration, the actual physics of how all this is changing. We're getting on these calls, which would traditionally take days, if not weeks, if not ever, to create, because of going back and forth on email and setting these times. One thing I've noticed is the urgency for connectedness. People are taking these meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent 12, 14-hour days on Zoom, and I hit the pillow hard at night, man. And it's about as exhausting as it is taking a train downtown or being in the car and seeing maybe 3-4 people a day. Less effort, expenditure, greater coverage through the ecosystem, and you're creating inroads. You're setting the table for co-creation. Nobody's selling. There's got to be a very delicate balance between sell and not to sell at this point, because you don't know who's on the other end of your pitch. And some people are vulnerable, and they've really been decimated by the coronavirus crisis. So you have to come at people now from a sense of not offending them by hitting them hard with your value proposition, but at the same time, to Craig's point, take time to develop a trusted relationship. And I believe Zoom gives us that instrument to do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Hey, Craig, what are you seeing out there right now in terms of the percentage of people that are actually putting out original content on LinkedIn? Is it 5%? Is it 7%? I mean, the number is much lower than people think it is.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I've always kind of run by the rule of, you have 1% of the people that really are making the impact and understand the platform. And then you have the people that are just creating content, and you'll see all kinds of content. And then you'll see valuable content that drives leads or drives value, or they can learn and be educated by it. But on the platform, you see about 90% of the people that don't really post, and 10% really post and create activity on the platform. Out of those 90%, that's usually where those leads are going to come from, because in my marketplace, I'm looking for a business. It's a B2B business, and I think that's what we're all looking for here. And what they do is they sit back and they lurk and they follow and they try to understand, and then they get ideas, and then they turn around and contact you. And it's just based on trust, and you got to build that trust. So I don't have exact numbers. These are numbers that I've come up with over time as I've built this out. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah.
Sorry, take that off mute. It's curious because you're right. I mean, I've had people contact me after 11, 12, 16, 18 months that say, you know what, I've been following you for a long time on LinkedIn. Yeah. Can we have a conversation? And I had no idea who they were. All they were yet another person looking at my posts. And we need to realize that, for a lot of times, as when we're putting our information out there, it's a long game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think when you're putting together a strategy, on my end, we do annual goals, and then we do quarterly goals along the way. But you're not going to be able to measure your KPIs in the first month. You're going to be able to measure activity in the first month, but you aren't going to measure KPIs. So, within that first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, that's where you're ramping it up. And it takes a while to build the system and push the content out. And what we do find is there's so many people that come up with an idea, write it out real quick and post it, versus have it all scheduled and planned out. And you do each quarter, you turn around and you do a quarterly posting campaign so that you can drive it to the next level.
Yeah.
I have a question for Craig.
Mm-hmm.
So Craig, in your experience, I have information that for every 4 posts on LinkedIn, one should be something somewhat personal, maybe a networking meeting, of course, before the coronavirus, like I meet somebody for coffee and then we take a picture and post on LinkedIn, explain a little more in details, versus the other 3 posts, really the quality content. Do you have any ratio that you would recommend?
Yes, I definitely do it just by the 80-20 rule. So if you're going to brand, I look at only 20% of your time would go on to branding on the platform, and the other 80% that you're going to do would be creating value. So I take it and I go, okay, how do we create value? Well, number one is branding is the last thing they want to hear. And with my old business that I had sold last year, it was postage meters and copiers. What in the world do people want to hear about a postage meter and a copier?
I do.
Yeah.
Come on, Greg, tell me about it.
But what I do is I do it under the beep. I do it under the beep method. Okay, so the beep method is we want to brand, we want to educate, we want to entertain, and then we want to provoke. And what I do is I take that concept and say, where do they fit in? And then I turn around and go, what percentage of my time needs to be spent on each one? If I go over that 20%, then I start losing the audience and I'm nothing but a sales rep versus someone who's building trust.
Okay, thanks.
So,
you're welcome.
David and I were chatting about this a little bit this morning as well. I've been reading, it's an old book, Keith Ferrazzi's Never Eat Alone. I don't know if anybody has read it in here, but it's a good one to look at. But it's funny because he's the king of networking, but it was really just at the beginning of when social media was really starting to take off. So he references a little bit, but the principles he used and talked about for networking, it was very interesting to kind of compare that to what we're doing now, using tools like LinkedIn. And we have a nice conversation going on in the chat room about it. But I think, it's that authenticity part of it. I think it really is. LinkedIn's important, but it's not all about LinkedIn. It's about being authentic, right? And Keith said, going into those meetings and conferences and the cocktail, receptions and the mixers and then the luncheons with the speakers and talk about that. And it occurred to me too, we're doing the same things, but it's, you can know the bad networkers from the good ones, the authentic ones. But now the room is much larger that we're dealing with,
And by the way, I wanted to share that in today's environment, it's not about the sales call, it's about the care call. Like, especially over the summer months, we connect with somebody and we're genuinely and authentically interested in their lives, not just their business, but their families and so on, because that's what has to come first now. Yes. You can always sell later on, but for right now, you have to make that authentic and real connection where people feel like, this guy actually, I really like what he has to say. And he seems like a nice person, like he actually cares about me. That has to happen first. Yeah. When I get LinkedIn connections and the first thing, hey, let's get on a call next week, I want to tell you about my business. That's a turnoff. I'm sorry. I don't have time for that, honestly. I got too many things to be doing.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say to you, Damon, thank you for your invitation. And I felt your love, actually. And with Michael, too, since last week, since you invited me to this. I feel like a real connection with you guys, not just this superficial, fake, let's just superficially connect with him for 1 week and then let's start selling the hell to him, that it's real and genuine. And I think that's why your group has grown and it's organic, and that's how it has to be.
Absolutely.
I totally echo that.
To talk a little bit about profiles, optimizations, and how you can use that to be authentic, right? Some people ask me, Mike, how come you say the things you say? How come you have this goofy haircut, pajamas, and you really don't care? It's because I know that my foundation is strong, right? I made a good website that explains what I do, made a good profile that explains what I do. Guys, I don't know how many of you know this or not, but I manage a lot of different social media accounts for a lot of different people, right? I do research and data and see patterns that most people don't see because of the access that I have to these different types of accounts, right? I've helped NFL players, I've helped famous people. I'm not saying that's right, I'm saying that I have that diversity, right? And let me tell you something. I get thousands of profile views every week, not due to my activity. Most of you guys have noticed I haven't been very active recently, especially the last week or so, because I'm paying attention to other things. I still get thousands of profile views based off my title, my keywords, my endorsements, and my recommendations and my reviews, right? If you make a strong profile and you do a good job of, I relate it all to fishing, right? Because that's what we're all doing. We're all fishing for sales. We're fishing for that relationship that can build us, right? you have to have good bait. You know, you have to have something that gets people to want to look at you, right? And then once they look at you, you have to be able to convert that to the next possible step, right? So if you have a clear about me summary and a clear call to action, what you do, how you can help people solve their problems and pain, it becomes very easy. I very seldom have to explain what I do or how I do it to people. All I have to do is go out, tell a few jokes, make a few points, right? And just be credible enough when I speak where people can actually take me seriously long enough to go actually look at my profile. So, I mean, really, if you do all the keyword stuff, you don't have to really focus on anything else. 1 out of 5 people that get on LinkedIn because they're looking for a solution to their problems. That should tell everybody everything they need to know about why they need to build their profile a certain way. You know what I mean? So, I mean, really, I think that's great points. I love what you said about the care call, not the sales call, because that's what it is. You know, if you make a great profile, you should never have to sell anything. You really shouldn't. All you got to do is show people you care, and it becomes really easy. Thank you guys for letting me say that.
So Craig, what are your thoughts on that's a good point about the profile optimization, because I know it was just probably 6 or 8 months ago you mentioned to me the blue screen of death. And I was like, well, I don't see the blue screen of death very. And then I realized how many people are out there that don't even have a background image on their profile. Can you expand on that a little bit more? What Mike just talked about?
Well, think about your blue screen of death as a billboard. So I mean, if you put a picture up there, that's great, but that's saying something. You want to always have a phone number or a call to action that's on there. You want to talk about pain points and how you solve those pain points that are out there. And there's some free software. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Canva. Canva is a tool that I use to go create these, and it's a great one to do it. And I suggest go into the ones that you see, or ones that I do, or ones that you see me hanging around, and look at some of those profiles and start building your own billboard that you're going to put behind yours. Now, one of the common mistakes I see is that you'll build this billboard and you put it behind you, and then you never look at it on your iPhone or your Android. And then what happens is you go look at it on your Android, and that's what over 50% of the people are looking at it on. And half the stuff that you have up there is cut off because on the mobile phone, it has a bigger picture of your image. I guess that's for the old folks, right, Damon?
Yeah. So that's a great point, Craig. And JD, what are your thoughts on this? Because I mean, you help. I mean, this is one of your specialties, I believe, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Well, everything on the profile is set up for uptake in a vertical cascade array, which means that people review differently. They'll review your profile in different ways. There's a whole neuroscience about how things come into our retinal field, and it's no surprise that LinkedIn has tried to design its platform so that the quick uptake is on the left top first quadrant. That's where the profile download, or the headshot downloads. That's where the banner downloads, and then we'll tend to scroll down, scroll back up. We take in information in different ways, but everything should be top loaded, which means that everything should kind of hit the amygdala at once, which is the banner image, the headshot, the little real estate right underneath your name, which hopefully is spelled correctly. and your professional headline is, and we can get into professional headline on a whole different call, and then that about section, so that if people like what they see in the first, say, 3 to 7 seconds while they're on your page, they'll be inclined to scroll down and read more about you. Interestingly, people who define themselves or assert themselves as problem solvers in their LinkedIn profiles fail to talk about the kinds of problems they solve. So my focus is much more storytelling. I'm a LinkedIn profile writer. That's a deliverable of mine. That's what got me to the dance. And I'm doing it in a much more immersive, mature, and sophisticated way these days, because it's really about plumbing the depths. COVID-19 has forced us all to confront our professional value, what we call our UVP. It's changing. We're all pivoting. What worked before might not work now. In fact, I'm revamping my profile until we get the vaccine, just to state what it is I do and what it is I'm creating for folks. And not so much what I sell or what I offer, but just kind of moving through this pandemic together to figure out what we can absorb, what will be favorable for us on the other side, and what we'll discard. So I think to everybody's point, we're all trying to find our way. We're looking to commiserate with the right people at this point, going from caring, not selling, moving from relational, or moving to relational away from transactional. So I'm setting up my profile that way. And the clients that I'm working with now, same thing.
Yeah.
You can't just come at people and sell. You have to state what the problems are that you solve, what the client's pain point is, and really envelop the client pain. I mean, I'm the greatest writing, the greatest art, the greatest marketing, the greatest branding comes from a point of pain.
Yeah. So Alon, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so humbled to be here, David. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
You know, I'm not going to talk about the LinkedIn because there are people here that are experts on that. They're all right. I will say a couple of things. One on LinkedIn, which is a lot of the rules that apply to LinkedIn until now are out the door. Because if they were rules on, you know, posting something on a specific day and a specific time for a specific audience, now it's all changing, right? So just one comment on that. The other thing is Craig mentioned trust. And those of you are already seeing now some invitations, etc. My niche is emotional relevance, and trust is exactly there. And trust takes time. So when you post something and nothing happens, don't expect all of a sudden something to happen. It takes time. So you got to be there, right, in front of mind of the people by posting more and more things. And Mr. O'Connor here, mentioned also things about, everything registers. So people said authenticity. My word these days is relevant. Be relevant. Be relevant for as long as you can. Somebody will grab. So just thank you for allowing me to say a few words, David.
Great. And thanks, Alon and JD. Awesome. I just gotta say, I invited JD like a day ago, and it was only because I saw something on Facebook and it triggered some conversations. But thank you so much. It's great. So Craig, back to you. Okay,
go on over your bad self, Damon.
No. The dude knows Michael Jordan.
Okay, so, guys, let me
that's
tell
all
you.
I'm saying. He was hanging with the
many
Bulls when they won.
This, but I'm really quick to tell people they suck and they're full of shit, right? I'm very seldom do I give somebody praise and say, yeah, you know more than me because, ego size Montana thing again, right? And let me tell you something. The first time I actually saw JD's face, and he corrected me, he said it wasn't Good Morning America. It was some other show, right? But I was like, dude, I know this guy from TV, right? He literally, of everybody on this show, he can actually say he is a media guy, okay? I have a website that's in top 1% of the world in regards to traffic, social media. So nobody knows who I am. This guy's on TV. I was like, wait, where do I know this guy from? And this was going back a few years ago, right? And I don't know if it was Oprah, he'll tell you, but I mean, the guy is actually very legitimate. So
I
thank you.
I just appreciate your input, JD, and thanks.
It's great being on the call.
Yeah.
And what a community you're building here, Damon. My gosh. I mean,
we're just having fun. We're having fun, and it's
can I come? I have to leave at 11 a.m. Central, but can I come back?
Oh yeah.
If you guys will have me.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
You do this every week?
Yeah, we do. And next week we're gonna have another hopefully interesting topic where I've got a hopefully a special guest. I'm trying to find him. We're gonna talk about emerging from the quarantine. So,
I want to have JD tell us how we get to talk to these bigwigs. No offense, guys. I don't want to mess with you people. I'm shooting for the stars here. I didn't come here to talk about LinkedIn training. I already know that shit. JD, how do I talk to Oprah?
I have one word for you. Relationships.
Yep. Good.
All right. I need to stick a hand in here.
All right.
And here's another piece. Any of you, any speakers here? Show of hands. Any speakers? Speak for free, because you never know who's in your audience.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm in the process of trying to connect with the governors of the Western states. I need one opening to start. Hopefully I've got it, but it won't happen until next week. I have a plan mapped out based on what they did in Hong Kong and Singapore and Taiwan. Taiwan has 20, and I posted this yesterday on LinkedIn. Hong Kong has 7.5 million people in it, and they have 4 deaths from COVID total as of yesterday.
Wow.
Right? And so if we follow what they did, we follow what they did in Macau and Singapore and Taiwan. I mean, Taiwan has 23 million people and they've had 14 deaths, right? So I'm trying to get to a governor so I can have a conversation, even with their chief of staff. I don't care, but I need help getting to them because I've tried to call in straight, can't get there.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any sort of
it kind of touches on what JD just said, which is speak for free. I mean, honestly, we have YouTube, we have Facebook, right? Look at those 2 schmuck doctors that said 95% truth and 5% bullshit because it affects their clinics, right? They got famous and they have every moron in the world saying, hey, these guys are the messiahs, right? And I don't care what your beliefs are. I'm just saying what they said was great, 95% of it. 5% of it was crap. All they did was make a video on YouTube. Next thing you know, they're like JD talking to Oprah on CNN or whatever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So if you have a message and it has value, I mean, just being me who I am, I'm like, I'm going to put it on YouTube, put a good description on it, link my, money-making website down to the bottom and put it out there. If it's good content and it makes sense, people will share it.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I want this message, I don't care whether I get any money out of this. I want things to change. And we could literally, to be blunt, Hong Kong was shut down for 2 weeks. That was it. And then they opened their whole economy back up again, right? We would have the only reason we're having to go through such a long shutdown is because we have to retrain the American public at an individual level to take care of themselves and take care of their fellows by wearing masks.
Okay, so all we got to do is get 330 million people to stop being dumb shits.
Yeah, just exactly.
Piece of cake. I mean, seriously.
Right, but there's a whole process that they have to go through in order to kind of bring that out. But that's the next step, is the coming out has to be managed very, very carefully.
Yeah. And even building a strategy of how you're going to run your business as it comes out. Yeah. I mean, what's that next step as we go? And we've got to be careful. And you've got to have a plan. It's like we had to do do-overs. We had strategies at the very first of the year. Then we come to this and we go, okay, it's time to do a do-over. And we got to think about what is the plan? What's the recession? How are we going to be safe? How do we conduct business?
Yeah. Right. People need information to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, I want to follow up on what Mike was just saying. And I read this something very cool yesterday I want you to think about. When you die, the people around you are the ones who suffer. Same thing when you're stupid. Okay? Think about it. Good luck.
No, don't have to.
Well, go ahead.
I'll be the first one to hire you if you can train people not to be stupid. I mean, seriously.
Well, that's a combination.
A lot of work
for that.
There's a lot of work. There's training, there's amputation.
Yeah. I was serious when I said I was a patterns guy here, dude. I'm saying, I look at the data, I see the patterns, and good luck, man. Good luck. I mean, not to get too political, but look at our politics here, right? I mean, we keep doing the same things over and over again. We're not the smartest people. We're brave. We really like freedom. You know what I mean? We're charismatic. We can tell a joke. People like us at parties, right? But we shouldn't be making some of these decisions.
Yeah. Well, let's get back on topic here a little bit. And this is one of the things, though, I honestly love. I love the conversations. We got a lot of intelligent people in here. And we're getting near the end of Craig talking about LinkedIn and the others here. So, Craig, what are your parting thoughts that people should be thinking about as they're looking at LinkedIn, thinking about their LinkedIn strategy?
Well, I have the ability to be a lawyer and I have the ability to be a CPA, but do I really want to go study to be a lawyer? Do I really want to go study to be a CPA? there's lots of talent out there that can help you do this right. And one of the things I've learned along the way in businesses and starting businesses and selling businesses is focus on what you do best. Yes. So as we go forward here, build a strategy. Don't just start half-assing it. Build a strategy so that you can be successful on the platform. And I know I've put in over 5,000 hours to studying the platform and building systems on it, but there's plenty of people you can go to get help and drive it to the next level. And just like you would do with anything else, you go out to Google and start doing reviews.
Yeah. All right, Andrew Cross, you raised your hand. I've not seen that before in one of these, but that's good.
Yeah, no, I did that a while ago, so I already chimed in.
Okay, good. Well, it was slow to get to me, but thanks, Craig.
Good though. Wanted, maybe just this is an extension of an effort to connect, not in a strategy sense, which is important. We all want to do more business, and we're doing to do that too. But there's a lot of webinars going on out there. There's a lot of things and people trying to do this. And what we're trying to do here, and I think it's working, and encourage everybody in the room, those who are sitting and watching and listening, to, jump in, join in the conversation. That's what I want out of this.
Yeah.
And not someone, we'll start the starting points, we'll have someone, we don't want to be talked at. It's not a lecture, here.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, I want to share a really great tip, right, about reviews, because Craig brought up a great thing about reviews and trust, right? Trust works multiple ways. It doesn't just work with the people and the relationships, right? A lot of you guys are talking about relationships, and it's great, so I don't want to beat you guys to death on the relationships and that. What I want to talk about is search engines and how it works, right? When you get a review on Google from a past client, you should send that guy or girl a box of chocolates or a deck of cards or whatever, right? Because if you look at Google, Bing, Yahoo, they all work basically the same thing based off data and trust, right? When you talk about domain authority and what gets to the top of Google, one of the biggest indicators, and there's over 200 things that go into what makes something pop up on the page one top results of Google, right? Myself and other SEO guys, we can argue all the points all to death, right? One of the biggest things that everybody sees that works together is reviews, Facebook reviews and Google reviews. Think about this. Google trusts Google, right? They like YouTube. The best backlinks and the best sources of traffic that you can get, and it's kind of what I was saying to Brad earlier, is you put it on YouTube, you put your link back down in the description, right? Because if you have a popular video on YouTube, right, you can manufacture search engine traffic based off the description. If I put up a video that sucks on YouTube, right, and I spend $5 on Fiverr to get myself 20,000 views and shares, even if it's not authentic shares, right, it's just a share on Google, right? If my link is in that description, what I'm doing is I'm taking a domain authority of 100, because Google gives itself 100 on YouTube, right? It translates to like a 95 domain authority backlink, right? When you share that description, you're giving yourself a 95 domain authority backlink, pointing back to your website, your social media page, or whatever it is, right? So when you get reviews, okay, you're helping yourself win the race on Google, right? People really, really, really sleep on Google reviews and how important they are. If you think about it, how many times you make a purchase without going to Google or somewhere to verify the information? Data shows that 91% of us go to Google and research somebody before we make a buying decision. 91%, right? So if you have a business, and a lot of people don't like me because I speak a lot of truth and I call out a lot of bullshit. I try not to do it as much now because I don't feel like I need to. If at this point you don't get it, you're just not going to get it. And I'm sorry, you're just not going to get it. Cool. If somebody's like, I'm a marketing expert, right? The first thing I'm looking at is their website. What is your domain authority? There's millions of things that will tell you your domain authority, whether it's SEMrush or it's Ahrefs or any of these other websites, right? So before you actually buy a service from a marketing guy, right? The first thing you should look at is how good are they at marketing, right? If somebody has a low domain authority, you probably shouldn't rely on them to sell you search engine optimization, right? My point is get yourself Google reviews, put your focus there. If you get yourself Google reviews and Facebook reviews and you make your profile optimized on LinkedIn, the selling becomes really easy. The selling it just happens, you know?
Okay, good stuff, Mike. Well, we're getting near the end of our time, and one of the things that I did want to cover in here, and thanks a lot, Craig, JD, everyone that's man, awesome stuff. We are going to change the platform next week. We're going to give it a try. And Christopher Nesbitt's going to talk to us just a moment here about the platform, and then we're going to Andrew Cross is going to give us our send off, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do next week. But man, again, so thankful to have Craig Wasilchak, JD. We didn't get to you, Randy. I know you got some stuff on LinkedIn that you do that's super cool, man. Even though I'm still confused as you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, but you live in Atlanta. So but anyway, without further ado, we go, Chris, go ahead and explain to us a little bit about what we're doing next week.
Yeah, so I am a representative for Remo. I'm part of a group of 4 of us that, and Sid actually is in the room. He's part of that as well. So if you guys have questions afterwards, reach out to us. But Damon and Andrew and Johnny and I have been talking over the last 2 or 3 weeks about switching over to Remo for these conferences. Now, basically, I'm going to see, hopefully I'll be able to share my screen here.
I think you can. There we go.
Sean? Okay, so basically this is Remo. Remo is a video and teleconferencing networking webinar platform. And it's really wonderful because it breaks the groups down into smaller, more manageable chunks. So in a situation like what we have today, we're forced to all be in the same room and only one person or 2 people can really speak at a time. This gives us the ability to have 6 people at a table and have real constructive conversations. It works very, very well for the most part. It's fairly stable. The video quality is good. The sound quality is good. I will say when you come into the platform next week, make sure you're running Google Chrome or Safari. Those are the 2 that work the best. And then make sure, obviously, your browser has permissions for your webcam and things like that. So, but overall, what's really wonderful about this particular platform is that we can present as well. So in this situation, I don't know if it's going to let me do this when I've got my camera running for Zoom. But basically, it would bring up the person who's speaking up on stage, and it would allow them to speak to the entire room. We can have upwards, the largest event I've seen is about 700. And so as Damon and Andrew and Johnny are approaching 100 people per one of these webinars, it's a much more flexible platform for that many people. You can ask questions over in the general chat, or you can, talk with each other in the general chat, same as you would for the Zoom. You can ask questions and upvote those questions so that the speakers know generally what the most hot question is in the room. Everything's can be recorded as well as live streamed. And then when you drop back out of presentation mode, you go back into networking mode, and you can either have, roundtables that are more specific to your needs, whether you could have a table for marketing and a table for B2B sales and a table for SEO. And then that way you're getting really what you need from the people that are at those tables. There's also whiteboards for each one of the tables and the presenters. So basically when you go in here, let me just see if I can give you guys, we'll just drop an image in here. This is a logo we did a couple weeks ago, but it's drag and drop for images, and you can put YouTube videos and links and PDFs and all kinds of wonderful things on the whiteboard. So you can also collaborate. When you have multiple people on a whiteboard, you can see where their cursor is, so you can have conversations when they're pointing at things. It's very clear.
Okay.
That's really the platform in a nutshell. There's obviously a lot more in-depth features that we can do, like custom maps and things like that. But for our purposes here, that's generally how that works.
Yeah, so there's a link that will come out in the meeting request. Those of you that are on the meeting request, and if you want to attend, you can sign up there. And then it is a browser-based thing, so you don't have to download any software. That is the kind of nice piece about it. But what we're going to do then is we're going to have people at tables, and just you can drop. The thing that's nice is you can drop and move around. We're going to start a half hour earlier, and we're going to stay a half hour later for people that want to talk before or after. And Chris will be helping people get on the platform before if you have any trouble. And in the invite, I'm going to give his contact information so people can get a hold of him. And we're just going to, I've been on a lot of these, not as many as Chris has, in this platform. And it's really nice because you see people begin to move into these little 6-person units and around the room, and you can talk and get to know people. And if, like in this conversation, you came up with there was something that you wanted to talk to someone about, you can message them during the thing, and you can go to a table and talk about it. So we want to allow and facilitate that kind of information sharing and relationship building. So pretty excited about trying it. And if we decide overall that we don't like it, we'll switch back to Zoom and we'll keep doing this. So
I'm pretty sure you're going to like it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's been fun. So
I've been looking at it for a while, and I'm pretty impressed about it. They actually asked me to tie it into Service Professionals Network, and to be honest, Eagle, Sias, Montana, what's in it for me. So the more and more I look at it, and the more people are bringing it up to me, the more and more it makes sense. And when he first said 6 people at a table, I thought that was a limitation. But just the fact that you can have 700 people at one time in the presentation, to me, that's pretty late.
Yeah. So with that, we're getting close to the end. I'm going to let Andrew conclude us out of here. And hey, thanks everyone for joining again. Freaking awesome. I love to see the talent. It just gets me fired up every day. I come out of this call just sweating, man. I'm so fired up. Well, the call in, 6 cups of coffee already. But Andrew, take us away.
Yeah, bringing on the closer. So we'll get out of here on time. But yep, thank you, Craig. Great presentation. Chris, looking forward to trying the new tools there. And that's really what it's about. We did a demo on it. We thought it was cool. Let's give it a try. There may be, and we'll help on board, to help people get going on it. So just reach out. It's not that much different than using Zoom, but what I liked about it was it felt like you're going into a big meeting room, and you've got tables there, and with a little networking before the speakers start, you can go in and sit at any table you want and meet, if there's particular topics, or meet people there and share information. And so I think it brings another level of intimacy or connection, hopefully. So, and I thought it's kind of cool, so we'll share. Next week too, I think the topic we're looking at is this is emerging, from COVID too. We're looking for a speaker who, if we can nail it down, it's not done yet, but it's going to be around the topic of how to prepare yourself when this ends with your company, what things you need to do. These are folks in operational, that work in operational kind of engineering in their companies, how to make people safe, what things are you going to have to do differently. And we noticed, because we found some folks who are, really preparing for that right now too, and kind of share that information too, and see what's going on and what they're going to do, because it is going to end and we got to be ready. So, but it's not going to be the same. So that's the topic kind of we're going around for next week. Yep. And yeah, we're right on time. It was great to see y'all.
Yeah.
Really good. Loved it. Some great comments, and everyone else, please join in, and come back. We'd love to see you.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, everyone. It's awesome. And yeah, we've got a couple people that we've invited, but it's great to see you, and have a wonderful week, and reach out to us if you want to talk about anything. We'll talk with you later.
Thank you, Damon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks, Mike.
Everybody.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Call you in a little bit.